treatment of different forms of salary income. So advance salary, as I mentioned earlier, that salary is taxable on due or receipt basis, whichever is earlier. So advance salary will be taxable when it is received. Also, arrears salary is taxable when it is due, and if it is not taxable at that point of time, then it will be taxable on receipt basis. Now there is a difference between advance salary and advance against salary. If a loan is different from salary. When an employee takes a loan from the employer, which is repayable in certain specific installments, the loan amount cannot be brought to tax as salary of the employee. If हम सैलरी के अगेंस्ट में लोन लेते हैं एम्प्लॉयर से, then it is not salary. Okay, and there is another concept named advance against salary. So advance against salary is also different from advance salary. If I take advance salary, then it will be taxable on receipt basis. But the other thing is advance against salary, which is not salary, and it will not be taxable under the head of salary.
5 मिनट लगेंगे, एक्चुअली वो वॉइस की प्रॉब्लम आ रही है।
बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्टर्बेंस हो रहा है। हाँ, बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्टर्बेंस हो रहा है।
सर थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस आ रहा है।
वो कंसंट्रेशन खराब हो रहा है। यस। हाँ। Before moving forward, there are few questions which I चीजें होती हैं, एक होता है एजेंट और एक होता है एम्प्लॉय. सो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू? An agent works for the principal and an employee works for the employer. Agent की ड्यूटी होती है कि प्रिंसिपल ऑफिसर ने जो ऑथराइज कर दिया है, हम अपने हिसाब से उस काम को मॉडिफाई करेंगे. बट इन केस ऑफ एन एम्प्लॉयर, whatever he tells you and जिस मैनर में वो बताता है, हमें एग्जैक्टली वैसा ही करना होता है. So agent will not be bound by this employer-employee relationship. He is an independent या वो हमारा employee है. एक person जैसे शिप का मास्टर है या एक शॉफर है, ये एजेंट भी हो सकता है, इंडिपेंडेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर भी हो सकता है या एम्प्लॉय भी हो सकता है. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द नेचर ऑफ वर्क. अगर आपको बाउंड है कि आपने जो प्रिंसिपल ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया दिया, आपको वैसे ही टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन को चलना पड़ेगा, तो वो एम्प्लॉय रिलेशनशिप. यही अगर एजेंट में अगर है कि हाँ, दिस इज द वर्क यू नीड टू डू, नाउ इट इज योर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी कि आप वो वर्क कैसे करते हैं, देन ही बिकम्स एन एजेंट. ठीक. सेकंड ऑफ ऑल, तुमने कहा कि डायरेक्टर अगर वो एम्प्लॉय है, तो सबसे पहले सारे डायरेक्टर्स पे ये एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर इज नॉट एन एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी. Even managing director is an employee of the company, and तभी if the article of association mentions that कि अगर वो हमारे articles में लिखा हुआ है that he has to manage all the responsibility, take to do management, तभी वो employee of the company. Independent is director is never an employee of the company. Okay.
Okay, so now types of allowances. So there are certain type of allowances. Some are fully taxable, some are partly exempted, and some are fully exempted. So here's the list. Fully exempted allowances, there are allowances to High Court judges, allowances paid by UNO, allowances granted to government employee outside India, as discussed earlier. Now there are some fully taxable allowances, which includes dearness allowance, city compensatory allowance, fixed medical allowance, tiffin allowance, washing allowance, warden allowance, entertainment allowance, and servant allowance. Now, for the partly exempted allowance, we are going to discuss it further. So, there are two bifurcations in the partly exempted allowance to the extent and actual limit of exemption given in the Act. So, there are certain criteria given in the Act. Up to that amount only, these allowances will be exempt, which includes HRA, education allowance, hostel allowance, tribal area allowance, underground allowance, and transport allowance. And there are some allowances which are to the extent and actual expense incurred are exempt. If हमारा actual expense उतना है तो वो पूरा allowance exempt हो जाएगा. ये वो वाले allowances है, जैसे कि traveling allowance, daily allowance, helper और assistance allowance, conveyance allowance, research and development allowance, and uniform allowance. Now, here is a special point to note. An employee being an assessee who opts for the provision of Section 115 BAC. Now, what is Section 115 BAC? We are going to discuss it further. Would be entitled for exemption only in respect of these 4 allowances. This is also, we are going to discuss it further. Now, for the partly exempted allowance and the exemption, first of all is house rent allowance. So, what is the exemption criteria? Least of the following would be exempt: actual HRA received, rent paid minus 10% of salary, 40 or 50% of the salary. Now, 40% is for non-metro cities and 50% is for metro cities, that is Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and Chennai. Now, salary here includes basic plus DA if part of retirement benefits plus commission fixed percentage. So, commission अगर percentage basis पे है तो ही इसमें include होगा. We'll take an example for that. Mr. Ramesh has the following receipts from his employer. He has a basic
salary plus DA plus commission based on fixed percentage of turnover. Other points that are to be remembered is that when a gratuity is received from 2 or more employers in the same year, then the aggregate amount of the gratuity exempt cannot exceed 20 lakh rupees. And where a gratuity is received from an employer in the previous years, and now the gratuity is received from another employer in the further later years, then the limit of 20 lakh will be reduced by the amount that was previously received. There is a question that is, Mr. Harish retired on 15th July 2020 after completion of 26 years, 8 months of service and received gratuity of 12 lakh rupees. At the time of retirement, his salary was basic salary 40,000 per month, DA 10,000 per month, 70% of which is for retirement benefits, commission 1% of turnover. Turnover the last 12 months was 1 crore 50 lakhs. Bonus 20,000 per annum. Now we have to compute the gratuity, assuming that he is a private sector employee and is covered under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. So here in the first case, we have 3 conditions to see. That is the actual amount of gratuity received, that is 12 lakh rupees, or the statutory limit, that is 20 lakhs on the last drawn salary of each completed year of service or part thereof in excess of 6 months. That is, it will and number of days taken in a month are 26. So this is 15 and divided by 26 plus our total of salary is 40,000 of basic salary and 7,000 of DA, which form part of retirement benefit. And
पूरे सैलरी एक्ट में बस एक ही जगह पूरा डीए दिया जाता है, वो है ग्रेचुटी. बाकी हर जगह डीए स्टार मतलब अगर वो रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट में आप कवर्ड हो तभी दिया जाता है. यहाँ पर 7,000 नहीं होगा, यहाँ पूरा डीए आपका 10,000 दिया जाएगा. क्योंकि आपका ये रिटायरमेंट से उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. पूरे सैलरी में अगर आप ग्रेचुटी में कवर्ड हो तो आपका कैलकुलेशन पूरा डीए लेकिन दिस विल बी 50,000 आपकी सैलरी.
so the salary will be 50,000 and it will be multiplied by the completed year of service or a part thereof. So there are 26 years and 8 months. So this 8 months will be counted as a 1 year, and so the total years are 27. And then the least of these 3 will be taken, that is 7,32,115. And this will be reduced by 12 lakh. So the amount of 4,67,885 will be taxable gratuity. The second part is when he is a private sector employee and is not covered under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. In this case, the 3 conditions are that the gratuity received, that is 12 lakh rupees, the statutory limit, that is 20 lakh rupees, and the half month salary based on average salary of last 10 months preceding the month of retirement for each completed year of service. In this case, we'll calculate the average salary of the last 10 months, that is 40,000 of our basic salary into 10 plus our DA 10,000 into 10 and The DA will be taken as 10,000 into 70%, which form part of retirement benefit, multiplied by 10, and the commission based on the fixed percentage of turnover is 1% of 1 crore 50 lakh rupees into 10 divided by 12. This whole amount will be divided by 10 to get the basic average salary of 1 month, and this will be multiplied by the completed year of service, that is 26 years. So the amount will be 7,73,500. And this is the least of all the three amounts, and this will be deducted from 12 lakh, and our taxable gratuity will be 4,26,500. So the next topic is leave salary or leave encashment. All the employees are allowed certain leaves during their period of service. Employee may avail such leaves, or in case these leaves are not availed, then they may either left or they may be accumulated for future or allowed or encashed every year or at the time of the retirement. These unavailed leave would form the part of the salary. Here is a complete chart of leave encashment. This says that if any leave encashment amount is received during the period of service, then it is fully taxable. And if it is received on retirement, whether on superannuation or otherwise, by a government employer, then it is fully exempt. But in case it is received by any other employer, then a condition of these four will be applied and the least of these will be taken. The condition is that is 3 lakh rupees or the leave salary actually received, or 10 months salary on the basic of average salary of last 10 months preceding retirement, or the cash equivalent of unavailed leave based on last 10 months average salary to the credit at the time of retirement. And here, the leave entitlement cannot exceed 30 days of every year of actual service. So now we'll take a question on this. The question is, Mr. Agarwal retired on 1st December 2020 after 20 years, 10 months of service, receiving leave salary of 10 lakh rupees. Other details of his salary income are basic salary 10,000 per month, 2,000 was increased with effect from 1st April 2020. DA 6,000 per month, 60% of which is for retirement benefit. Bonus of 1,000 per month and commission of 1,000 per month. And leave availed during the service is 80 days, and he is entitled to 30 days leave every year. So we have to calculate his taxable leave salary, assuming that he is a government employee. If he is a government employee and he has received leave entitlement, then this will be fully exempt under leave encashment, and the taxable leave salary will be nil. And in case he's a non-government employee, then we have to see it under 4 criteria. That is, the leave salary received. The total leave salary received is 10 lakh rupees, and the statutory limit is 3 lakh rupees. And 2 more criteria are that 10 months salary based on average salary of last 10 months. That is, his salary was 10,000 per month, but it was increased by 2,000 with effect from 1st for 2020. Before that, his salary was 8,000 rupees. So we have to take it as 10,000 into 8 for 8 months and 8,000 into 2 for 2 months. Plus our DA, which form part of retirement benefit, that is 60% of for 10 months. This is divided by 10, so we get the average salary, and this is further multiplied by 10 to get the 10-month average salary. So the amount is 1,32,000, and the 4th criteria is cash equivalent of leave standing at the credit of the employer based on the average salary of last 10 months, and max 30 days are allowed as per the year of service. Leave due is equal to that days into 20 years of service. So the total, this 600 is subtracted from the leave already taken, that is 480. So the leave due were 120, and this leave due is divided by days to get it in year in months, and then this is multiplied by the average salary per month, that is 1,32,000 divided by 10, and so the answer comes 52,800. This is exempt, and the rest amount is taxable, that is 10 lakh minus 52,800 is 947,200. This amount is taxable. Other points to remember is that when a leave salary is received from 2 or more employers in the same previous year, then the aggregate amount of the leave salary exempt from tax cannot exceed 3 lakh rupees. And where you have received leave salary from an employer in the previous month and now you are receiving leave salary from another employer, then the limit of 3 lakh will be reduced by the amount of leave salary exempt earlier.
Aman Jain. Aman, will you please answer Priya?
Supposedly Payal, she's in service right now. She is continuing his service, और इसके पास 1/6 leave allowed है. She has not taken it. इसने अपना cash जितनी leave थी उसके बदले में she during the period of service इसने अपना cash withdraw कर दिया. जितनी भी मेरी leave होती थी उतने का amount का मुझे cash during the period of service आप मुझे उसका देते. तो पायल के हैंड में ये taxable होगा या exempt होगा? She is a government employee.
Yeah, Aman, will you answer?
सॉरी सर वो क्वेश्चन क्लियर नहीं था, मतलब समझ नहीं आया मैम ने क्या बोला.
पायल ने एक सर्विस ज्वाइन की है.
मैम आपकी आवाज बहुत स्लो आ रही है.
अब आ रही है?
यस मैम, नाउ इट
तो
इज.
ये पहले उसकी आवाज ठीक आ रही थी आपको आंचल की?
यस सर, शी वाज क्लियर.
पायल ने एक सर्विस ज्वाइन की है. उसको एंटाइटल्ड है कि आप अपने टोटल ईयर में 1/6 आपको लीव अलाउड होगी. ठीक, इसने लीव नहीं ली. इसने क्या किया कि जितनी भी मेरी लीव थी उसके इक्विवेलेंट अपना अमाउंट जितना भी कैश था उसने कंपनी से ले लिया कि आप मुझे, मैं छुट्टी नहीं दे रही हूँ, आप मुझे इसके बदले में आप मुझे कॉम्पनसेट करते इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कैश. वेदर द अमाउंट रिसीव ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड ऑफ हिज सर्विस, जब ये दे रही थी इसने जितना भी विड्रॉ किया है, क्या ये सैलरी का पार्ट है? इज इट टैक्सेबल और इज इट एग्जेम्प्ट?
मैम इट विल बी पार्टली टैक्सेबल अकॉर्डिंग टू द लीव एनकेजमेंट.
हाउ इज इट पार्टली टैक्सेबल? कैसे होगी इसकी कैलकुलेशन?
मैम लोअर ऑफ द 4 क्राइटेरिया 3 lakh 360 minus 160.
I am repeating my question. During the period of service, after retirement means during the period of service, इसने अपनी in cash करवा ली अपनी salary, sorry in cash कर ली जितना भी इसकी unutilized leave थी उसने इसको in cash करा दिया during the period of her service. अभी भी ये taxable होगा या partly exempt होगा या fully exempt होगा?
It will be partly exempted because sorry ma'am, it will be fully taxable as it is during the service.
Yeah, so Ayush and Nidhi, you are there, you have raised your hands. Do you have your views?
Yes, sir. My answer was same. It will be taxable.
So, thank you.
But Anshul Binder is saying no. Why, Anshul? In chat box, you have mentioned no. So, Anshul, will you please elaborate your views? Anshul Binder? I think he is not hearing. Anyway, continue. Anshul, if you are there, you can answer.
The next topic is Provident Fund. It is intended to give substantial benefit to an employee at the time of his retirement. Under this scheme, a specified amount is deducted from the salary of the employee as his contribution towards the fund, and the employer also contributes a similar amount out of his pocket to the fund. are invested in an approved securities, the interest thereon received on these amount is credited to the account of the employer. And at the end, the credit balance in the provident fund account consists of the following, that is the employee's contribution, interest on employee's contribution, employer's contribution, and interest on employer's contribution. This accumulated amount is paid, it is paid to his legal hire. There are 4 types of provident fund, that is recognized provident fund, unrecognized provident fund, statutory provident fund, and public provident fund. In case of recognized provident fund, tax. It is governed by Part A of Schedule 4, which contains various rules of recognition of the fund, employers and employees' contribution to the fund, treatment of accumulated balance, etc. Recognized provident fund is not recognized by the Commissioner of Income Tax. Statutory provident fund, it applies to the employees of government, railway, semi-government institutions, local bodies, universities, and all recognized educational institutions. In case of public provident fund, it is ideally suited for self-employed people, or a salaried employee can also contribute to the PPF in addition to the fund operated by his employer. In this case, an individual contribute to his own fund, and he can also fund for his minor of whom he is a guardian. In this case, he will get a deduction under 80C if he contribute to a PPF for a minimum amount of 500 in a year, and he can qualify for the maximum deduction of 1,50,000 rupees. The tax treatment of these provident funds during the employment period is as follows. In case of recognized provident fund, the employer's contribution in amount excess of 12% of salary is taxable. In case of employee's contribution for recognized provident funds credited thereon, the amount in excess of 9.5% is taxable. Contribution is not taxable yearly, and the employee's contribution is not eligible for deduction, and interest credited is also not taxable yearly. In case of statutory provident fund, employer's contribution is fully exempt, employee's contribution is eligible for deduction, and interest credited is fully exempt. Under public provident fund, there is no employers. In case of employee's contribution, it is eligible for deduction under 80C, and interest credited is also fully exempt. At the time of retirement, in case of recognized provident fund or public provident fund or statutory provident fund, these are fully exempt under section 1011 and 1012. And now this is the complete chart. If an employee has rendered a service for a period of 5 years with the employer, then his amount will be exempt. And if not, then there are certain reasons of his termination. If he was terminated because of his ill health or due to the discontinuance of employer's business or any cause that was beyond the control of the employee, then in such a case, the amount will be exempt. And if it was not the case, then we will see 2 more conditions. That is that the entire amount that was standing in the credit was transferred to the individual account of the employer in any recognized provident fund that was maintained by his new employer. And if it was the case, then the amount is exempt, and if not, then the amount is completely taxable. And if the entire balance standing to the credit of the employee is transferred to the National Pension Scheme account referred in section 80 CCD and is notified by the central government, then the amount is exempt. Otherwise, it is taxable.
This is quite funny. This is a practical, but this is a real thing. Last year I got married. इसके पहले मैं अपने mom dad के firm में as an employee registered थी, and मेरा PF कटता था. So I being an employee and my mother father the proprietors of firm used to contribute to it. 2 options में देखती हूँ. मैंने एक तो 5 साल की सर्विस अगर मैंने कंप्लीट कर दी, फिर मुझे अभी इस टाइम पे अगर मुझे कोई लमसम पेमेंट मिलता है जो जितना भी मैंने पीएफ में डाला था, अगर मैंने 5 साल कंप्लीट कर दिए फिर मुझे मिलता है तो क्या टैक्सेबिलिटी होगी? मैंने 5 साल कंप्लीट नहीं किए बट ड्यू टू माय मैरिज आई हैड टू लीव देयर एंड हैड टू शिफ्ट टू जयपुर, तब मुझे वो पैसे मिल रहे हैं, द लंप सम अमाउंट ऑफ पीएफ, तब वो सिचुएशन में क्या होगा? दोनों चीजों का मुझे सेपरेट आंसर चाहिए।
Yeah. Ayush, can you answer? Ayush Kataria?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. I think if you have completed 5 years of service, then the amount will be exempt. And if you have not completed it, as it is under your control, the factor you mentioned under your control, so I think it will be acceptable.
Okay, so you think in the second case I fall in the third category? Any other cause beyond the control of the employee?
Yes. Ma'am, it will be in under your control, so if
You're not
cost of
audible.
service.
Can you repeat because you're not audible?
Hello.
You're not audible. Can you repeat the answer?
Ma'am, if you complete 5 years of service, then the amount will be exempt. Otherwise, it will be taxable.
So you were suggesting I'll fall in the third category, right?
Mm,
In case of unrecognized provident fund, if the amount is received on maturity, then the employee's contribution is not taxable, whereas the employer's contribution and interest is taxed as salary. And the interest on employee's contribution is taxable under the head other income, other sources, income from other sources. Here is an example. Mr. Sohan retires from service on December 31st, 2020. After 25 years of service, his basic pay at the rate 20,000 per month for 9 months is 1,80,000. DA, 50% of which forms part of retirement benefit for 9 months is 90,000. Lump sum payment received from the unrecognized provident fund is 7 lakh, and the deposit in the PPF account is 50,000. Out of the amount received from the unrecognized provident fund, 55,000. The employee's contribution was 3 lakh rupees, and the interest was 65,000 on the same. What is the taxable portion of the amount received from the unrecognized provident fund in the hands of Mr. Sohan for the assessment year 2021 and 22? Anybody?
So, Yogesh Makotia, can you answer?
Hello?
Yes, Yogesh.
Yes, sir.
आप बताएंगे इसका आंसर?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are calculating.
Yes, sir.
All should have actually pen and paper with you, as and when this class is there. In the meantime, anyone else, if he has calculated, he or she, then they can also answer. They can raise their hands.
Hello?
Yes, Yogesh.
Sir, the employee will not be eligible for deduction under 80CC. Hello?
Yes, Sujesh.
The employee's contribution of 3 lakh will not be eligible for deduction. So I think it will be taxable.
Yes. So under which head these resty amounts will be taxable?
They will not be taxable early.
I'm not audible.
Yes, Yogesh.
Hello,
Hi, Yogesh.
am I audible, sir? Yeah,
Yes, we are hearing you.
yeah, yeah. So because they have been given into an unrecognized holding fund, they will not be taxable early, sir.
You are saying that employees' contribution of 3 lakh is not taxable.
Employees' contribution will not be eligible for deduction.
Then what about the rest amount of employer contribution and interest?
So anyways, you explain.
Here in this case, the employer contribution of 3 lakh will not be taxable. It is exempt. And the interest of it, that is 65,000 rupees, this will be taxable under income from other sources. And the amount of employer's contribution of 2,80,000 and the interest of 55,000, this will be taxable under the hard salary. So the total taxable income is 2,80,000 plus 55 under salaries, that is 3,35,000 and 65,000 under income from other sources, that is a total of 4 lakh rupees will be taxable. Profits in lieu of salary. Any compensation that is received on termination of the employment by an employer is counted in profits in lieu of salary, and any compensation on account of modification of the terms and condition of the employment. Usually this amount is treated as a capital receipt, but under this provision, it is treated as a revenue receipt and is chargeable as salary. But it should be noted that there should exist a master-servant relationship between the payee and the payer, and if there is no existence of such relation, then this is not a payment, not profit in lieu of salary. Payment from provident fund or other funds, excluding gratuity pension, compensation received by a workman under Industrial Dispute Act from any recognized provident fund, statutory provident fund or public provident fund, any house rent allowance. Other than these, all are considered in profit in lieu of salary. And in case of unrecognized provident fund, as I already told, this is treated separately. That is, the employer contribution and the interest is taxable under salaries. The interest on employees' contribution is taxable under income from other sources, and the employees' contribution is not chargeable to tax. And in case of lump sum payment or otherwise that is received by the employee before joining of employment with that person or after cessation of his employment with that person, if any amount is received, then it is profit in lieu of salary. The next topic is voluntary retirement receipt. Am I audible? Am I audible? Suppose a company associate enter into an agreement with the company in which the company says that the associate will be employed as CEO of CEO of the company. But later on, the company denied the employment to such associate and it paid certain commission. So whether it will be profit in lieu of salary or not.
Priyal Maheshwari. Priyal.
Hello.
Yes, Priyal.
हाँ सर, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
तो सर
Audible,
मेरे हिसाब से तो टैक्सेबल नहीं होगा सैलरी के अंदर, क्योंकि कोई मास्टर सर्वेंट रिलेशन तो इस्टेब्लिश ही नहीं हुआ, उससे पहले टर्मिनेट कर दिया था.
Okay, and if it is not taxable under the salary, then under which head it will be taxable?
Income from other sources, I think.
No, it will be treated as a capital receipt in the hands of others. So it will not be taxable.
Okay, ma'am.
Now the next topic is voluntary retirement receipt. This is a lump sum payment or may be otherwise received by an employee at the time of his voluntary retirement, and it would be taxable as profit in lieu of salary. But here in this section it is exempt. The following are the eligible undertaking, that is the public sector company, a local authority, a corporate cooperative society, any state government, central government, or any other institution that is having the importance throughout India or in any state as specified by the central government, and institution and any institute of management as the central government may prescribe, etc. Here, the maximum limit of exemption is 5 lakh rupees installments. There are further guidelines, rule 2BA, for the purpose of this clause. It is said that the employee should have completed 10 years of service or completed 40 years of age to avail this. And this is not applicable in case of an employee of a public sector company under the scheme of voluntary separation framed by the company. And this is for all kind of employees by whatever name called, including workers and executive or of the company or the authority or a cooperative society, but it does not include director of the company or a cooperative society. It is said that this scheme should be drawn to result in the overall reduction in the existing strength of the employees, and the vacancy so created by this must not be filled up. And the retiring employee of the company shall not be employed in any other company or concern belonging to the same management. And in this case, the amount that is receivable by the employee must not exceed the amount equivalent to the 3-month salary for each completed year of service, or the salary at the time of retirement multiplied by the balance month of service left before the date of his retirement or superannuation. Here is the question. Mr. Dinesh received voluntary retirement compensation of 15 lakh rupees after 30 years, 4 months of service in SBI. He still has 6 years of service left at the time of voluntary retirement. He was drawing basic salary of 30,000 per month. DA, which form part of pay, is 10,000 per month. Compute his taxable voluntary retirement compensation. In this question, we have to see
Can
the two.
anyone answer this? Yeah. Sonu Agrihari. Sonu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Will you please answer this?
सर आवाज ढंग से नहीं आ रही सर.
Can you please repeat the query?
Mr. Dinesh received a voluntary retirement compensation of 15 lakh rupees after completing 30 years and 4 months of service in SBI, and he has 6 years of service left. His basic salary is 30,000 per month. DA is 10,000 per month. You have to calculate his taxable voluntary retirement compensation.
Yes, Sonu, I think now it's clear. Anyone else? Tanya Khattar? Tanya? Yes, Tanya? आप अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को.
Hello.
Yes, Tanya?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, I was just writing down my question.
Okay, so you have the answer?
No, sir, I was writing. I was just trying to solve this.
Okay, you are writing the answer on the chat box.
No, sir, I was writing that on a notepad. I was trying to solve it.
Okay. Vandita, will you please answer?
Hello.
Yes, Vandita.
Hello. In this case, least of the four will be exempt. First of all, actual amount received is 15 lakh. Maximum limit is 5 lakh. Thirdly, we'll calculate salary for 3 months for each completed year of service. That is, in this case, the salary is 10,000 plus 10,000 plus 30,000. That is 40,000 per month. We'll multiply 3 into 40,000 into 30. So that will be an amount. And the fourth amount will be salary for the balance period of service. So I have to make the calculation.
So Vanita, your answer was correct. We'll take the least of four. That is the compensation that is actually received 15 lakh rupees, the statutory limit of 5 lakh rupees, and the last drawn salary multiplied by 3 and into completed year of service. That is, my last drawn salary was 30,000 basic salary and 10,000 of DA. That is 40,000 into 3 multiplied by 30. That is 36 lakh rupees. And the fourth criteria is last drawn salary into remaining month of service. My remaining years of service is given, that is 6. So I have to multiply it by 12 to get the remaining months of service into my last drawn salary, that is basic salary plus DA, that is 40,000. And my total, this totals to 28 lakh 80,000 rupees. And the least of this is 5 lakh rupees that will be exempt. And the rest amount of 10 lakh rupees, that is 15 lakh minus 5 lakh, will be taxable under voluntary retirement compensation. So the next topic is retrenchment compensation. Retrenchment compensation is a compensation that is paid under Industrial Dispute Act 1947, or when there is transfer of employment or closing down of an undertaking. Then in such a case, retrenchment compensation is paid. It is also paid in case of termination or due to the modification in terms of conditions. It is calculated as follows. That is 15 days average pay multiplied by completed years of service or part thereof in excess of 6 months, or amount of 5 lakh rupees, whichever is lower. In this case, completed year of service and part thereof in excess of 6 months. This means that if a person has worked for 30 years and 8 months, then this 8 months will constitute as 1 year, and his completed year of service will be taken as 31. The other point that is to be remembered are that this will not apply in cases where the compensation is paid under any scheme approved by the central government for giving special protection to the workmen under certain circumstances. And here the average pay is the wages payable. If it is payable monthly to the workmen, then 3 completed calendar months. If it is taken paid weekly, then in 4 calendar weeks, and if it is paid daily, then in 12 full working days is taken as the average pay. And here wages include all remuneration that is capable of being expressed in terms of money, that is allowances including DA, house accommodation, travel concession, or any commission payable on the promotion of sales or business or both. But it does not include any bonus or gratuity on the termination of the service or contribution to the retirement benefit scheme. Thank you.
One thing in small thing in voluntary retirement scheme. Suppose you are pursuing a job in a bank and you voluntarily retire, and there is a scheme that 50% amount you can take right now, and the rest 50% will be given to you in installments. So there is a case now of YAC Babu versus Chairman and Managing Director of Syndicate Bank. He accrue first year, जिस दिन ये scheme money accrue उसी दिन हो गया था. So whether आपको वो installments में मिल रहा है या lump sum में मिल रहा है, the year which जिस दिन you decide हुआ है, पूरा taxable उसी year में होगा.
आपको 50 इयर्स इंस्टॉलमेंट में 50% इंस्टॉलमेंट मिल रहा है, वो ठीक है, बट अप्रूव इस समय ही हो गया है तो पूरा पूरा टैक्सेबिलिटी वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट में फर्स्ट ईयर ही होगा.
So now next speaker is there with us. We will be taking certain more topics on the salary, taxation of salaries. The hall for any topic. So in the meantime, I would like to ask Sanidhya. Sanidhya, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Say related to provisions explained here. Can you please repeat those provisions?
Yes, sir. The exemption under voluntary retirement receipt is maximum limit is of rupees 5 lakhs, and the second is 3 average salary of 3 months multiplied by completed years of service, and the third limit is average salary into balance months left in completed in total years. Whichever is lower will be the exemption.
Okay. So now we shall be starting with the perquisites. So Shruti will explain the provisions related to the taxation of perquisites under the head income from salaries.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Shruti Jain, will continue income from salary with the perquisites topic. Yeah, what are the perquisites? Perquisites may be defined as the benefits which are attached to an office or position in addition to the regular salary or the wages. It may be provided in cash or in kind, employee और employee का relation होना. अगर perquisites other than employer कोई और income from other sources की income में count किया जाएगा. एक special point इसमें ये है कि इसका एक legal origin होना चाहिए. It would be taxable. It would be taxable. And advantage taken by an employee, an unauthorized to such advantage. It would not amount to perquisites taxable under the Act. Here we'll take an example topic. Sources. अभी एक एग्जांपल है कि एक मिस्टर ए है, एक एम्प्लॉय है जिसको उसके एम्प्लॉयर ने एक हाउस दे रखा है. 31 मार्च 2021 को उसको टर्मिनेट कर दिया गया फ्रॉम हिज सर्विस, बट जो उसको हाउस रेंट दिया गया था उसने अभी तक वो ऑक्यूपाई कर रखा है 6 months तक. मींस ही हैज नॉट वेकेटेड हिज ऑफिस व्हिच इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय द एम्प्लॉयर. The question now arises is whether the value of the benefit enjoyed by the during the 6 months can be considered as a perquisites and salary and charge the salary. But जब भी किसी purposes के लिए निकाला गया है तो कोई भी 31 मार्च 2021. सो अब ये जो बेनिफिट अनड्यू एडवांटेज जो एम्प्लॉय को मिल रहा है वो इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज में इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज के हेड में काउंट किया जाएगा. Now there are three types of perquisites. First, exempt for all the employees, taxable for all the employees, taxable only for the specified employees. Accommodation is located in a remote area. What is the remote area? कोई भी 40 किलोमीटर्स के बाहर सिटी के 40 किलोमीटर्स के बाहर अगर कोई भी एरिया है तो उसको रिमोट एरिया कहा जाता है. फॉर एग्जांपल देयर मे बी द माइनिंग साइट्स एक्सेट्रा. इंटरेस्ट फ्री लोन does not exceed 20,000 in aggregate or the loan is taken for the treatment of disease referred in Rule 3A. Rule 3 में जो specified disease है like cancer, AIDS, HIV उनके लिए अगर लोन लिया गया है तो वो exempt होता है. कोई भी free education facility to the children in the institution maintained by the employer. Employer का कोई educational institution है वहाँ पे employee के children पढ़ने जा रहे हैं तो उनके लिए tax free है, वो count नहीं किया जाएगा as a perquisite. Payment of premium on the personal accident insurance policy. कोई भी लैपटॉप या कंप्यूटर पर्सनल यूज या ऑफिस यूज के लिए जस्ट यूज के लिए दिया जा रहा है तो वो टैक्सेबल नहीं होगा. फैसिलिटी इन द फॉरेन कंट्री. कन्वेंस फैसिलिटी ऑफिस से घर तक एंड घर से ऑफिस तक. टेलीफोन्स की फैसिलिटी. रिफ्रेशर कोर्स कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइज होता है तो उसको लेने की फैसिलिटी. कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस स्कीम. ट्रांसफर कर दिया मैंने किसी भी असेट को जो मैंने यूज कर रखा है 10 साल के बाद मेरे एम्प्लॉय को अगर मैंने कोई भी ट्रांसफर कर दिया तो. रिफ्रेशमेंट की फैसिलिटी बट द रिफ्रेशमेंट फैसिलिटी इज exempted up to ₹50 per meal. Entertainment, health club, sports and other facilities is provided to all the employees. Here the important point is it must be provided to all the employees, not to single or few employees. Gift given in kind is exempt only up to ₹5,000. Now we are moving to the second point, that is taxable for all employees. So the valuation under the unfurnished rent-free accommodation under section 17(2)(1. अब जब भी कोई रेंट फ्री अकोमोडेशन एम्प्लॉयर प्रोवाइड करता है तो हम ये देखते हैं कि वो एम्प्लॉय जो है वो गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय है या फिर अदर देन गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय है. अगर वो गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय है तो अपन रेंट एज पर द गवर्नमेंट रूल्स लेते हैं. अगर वो अदर देन गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय है तो हम ये देखेंगे कि अकोमोडेशन कौन ओन कर रहा है. अगर अकोमोडेशन जो है वो एम्प्लॉयर ओन कर रहा है, अगर वो अकोमोडेशन एम्प्लॉयर ओन कर रहा है तो वो पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे हम फिर उसको वैल्यू करेंगे. बट अगर वो अकोमोडेशन जो है वो खुद भी लीज पे या रेंट पे लिया गया है बाय द एम्प्लॉयर देन द वैल्यूएशन वुड बी लाइक 15% of the salary or the rent paid by the employer, whichever is lower. But if अगर accommodation employer own कर रहा है तो हम population के basis पे valuation करेंगे. Population अगर मेरी 10 lakhs तक है तो 7.5% of the salary. Population between 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs, then valuation would be 10% of the salary. Population of the city above 25 lakhs, then 15% of the salary. अब valuation of the furnished house. अब मान लीजिए कि मुझे अनफर्निश्ड मिला, उसमें जो है वो कुछ फर्नीचर्स वगैरह भी जो है वो मुझे एम्प्लॉयर ने लगा के दिए तो उसका वैल्यूएशन फर्नीचर का वैल्यूएशन कैसे होगा? 10% पर एनम कॉस्ट ऑफ द फर्नीचर. और अगर वो हायर पे रेंट पे लिया गया है तो एक्चुअल हायर चार्जेस विल बी एडेड विथ द अनफर्निश्ड हाउस. इसमें अब मैंने सैलरी का क्या मीन होता है वो देखते हैं अपन. बेसिक सैलरी प्लस DA बट ओनली इफ इन द टर्म्स ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयमेंट प्लस बोनस प्लस कमीशन प्लस टैक्सेबल पोर्शन ऑफ ऑल द अलाउंसेस.
any monetary payments which is chargeable but does not include the perquisites under section 17(2). इनमें से अगर कोई भी पार्ट एम्प्लॉय अपने पॉकेट से पे कर रहा है तो वो जो है वो रिड्यूस हो जाएगा फ्रॉम द परक्विजिट। अब एक क्वेश्चन लेते हैं इसके रिगार्डिंग। एक मिस्टर नारायण थे जो एम्प्लॉय थे ऑफ एक्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड। एक्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड से ये समझ में आता है कि वो मींस गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय नहीं। अब वो अजमेर में पोस्टेड हुए हैं और पॉपुलेशन अजमेर की गिवन है 18 लाख। बट अभी हम पॉपुलेशन पे ध्यान नहीं देंगे क्योंकि हमें ये नहीं पता कि अकोमोडेशन जो है वो ओन्ड बाय द एम्प्लॉयर है या फिर रेंट। तभी हम पॉपुलेशन पे ध्यान देंगे। अब उसकी बेसिक सैलरी जो है वो 3 लाख है। PA which forms part of the salary 10,000 है and 5,000 as commission. And the company also provides him with the rent-free accommodation, rent-free unfurnished accommodation in Ajmer. House is owned by the company. अब यहाँ पे ये लिखा हुआ है कि the house is owned by the company. तो हम वापस से वो चार्ट अगर याद करें तो हाउस ओन्ड बाय द कंपनी में हम पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे जो है वो डिवाइड करते हैं। अब हम देखते हैं कि अजमेर की पॉपुलेशन कितनी है। तो अजमेर की पॉपुलेशन जो है वो 18 लाख है which falls in the second part of that chart. तो ये फॉल करता है 10 to 25 लाख के बीच में। तो हुआ कि जो भी मेरी सैलरी कैलकुलेट होगी उसका 10% जो है मैं लगाऊंगी और वो मेरा एज इन परक्विजिट टैक्सेबल होगा। So moving on to the answer, here we calculate the salary as 3 lakh plus DA that is 10,000 plus commission that is 5,000. So in total we have the salary is 3,15,000. अब इस 3,15,000 का हम 10% निकालेंगे जो कि आया 31,500. So that will be the taxable value of the perquisites. अब इस क्वेश्चन में एक लास्ट लाइन भी गिवन है कि fair rent of the accommodation is 55,000 per annum. ये लाइन जस्ट हमें कंफ्यूज करने के लिए दी गई है क्योंकि ऑलरेडी वहाँ पे ये लिखा हुआ है कि ये हाउस ओन्ड बाय द कंपनी है। तो लास्ट में ये जो फेयर रेंट की हमें इंफॉर्मेशन गिवन है वो जस्ट यूजलेस है। Now moving on to the next thing, valuation of the hotel accommodation. Valuation in respect of hotel accommodation. अब मान लीजिए कि मैं अभी जयपुर में जॉब कर रही हूँ, मेरा ट्रांसफर जो है वो दिल्ली है। आज मेरे पास अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर आया और मुझे बोला है कि 1 अप्रैल से आपको ज्वाइनिंग करनी है। मेरा दिल्ली में कोई रहता नहीं है, सो आई एम नॉट एबल टू फाइंड अ होम एज पॉसिबल एज अर्लीस्ट। सो कंपनी ने मुझे बोला कि ठीक है, हम आपको स्टार्टिंग में आपको होटल की फैसिलिटी दे देंगे। ठीक है, फिर उन्होंने ये बोला कि आप जब तक अपना घर ढूंढ लेना तब तक हम आपको होटल की फैसिलिटी दे देंगे। अब मैं वहाँ पे गई, 15 दिन तक मैं होटल में रही और साथ साथ में अपना एक हाउस भी ढूंढ रही हूँ। अगर मैंने 15 दिन में वो अगर हाउस नहीं ढूंढा तो उसके बाद के जो डेज है उसमें मेरा टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा वैल्यू, और 15 दिन तक मेरी कोई भी टैक्स मीन्स कोई भी जो है वो वैल्यू ऑफ परक्विजिट ऐड नहीं होगा। अब 15 दिन के बाद से मेरा क्या ऐड होना स्टार्ट होगा? एक्चुअल रेंटल चार्जेस जो लॉयर होटल वाले को पे कर रहा है और 25% ऑफ द सैलरीज विच एवर इज लोअर। और अगर कोई पार्ट मेरी पॉकेट से अगर निकल रहा है होटल वाले को, दैट वुड बी डिडक्टेड। लास्ट वाले एग्जांपल में ये था कि मेरे को होटल में रहना था। अब मान लीजिए मैं जयपुर हूँ, मेरा ट्रांसफर दिल्ली हो गया। जयपुर में मेरे को RFP की फैसिलिटीज एम्प्लॉयर के थ्रू प्रोवाइडेड थी। अब दिल्ली में भी उन्होंने जो है वो मुझे एक हाउस दे रखा है। ठीक है, अब मैं यहाँ से चली गई दिल्ली, मैं दिल्ली वाला भी ऑक्यूपाई कर लिया, जयपुर वाला भी ऑक्यूपाई कर लिया। किसी कंडीशन में भी फैमिली प्रॉब्लम की वजह से मैंने जो है अभी तक अपना जयपुर वाला हाउस खाली नहीं करा है। तो अप टू 90 डेज जो है वो तो मेरा एनी लोअर ऑफ द वैल्यू, या तो जयपुर वाला या दिल्ली वाला, उनमें से जिसकी भी वैल्यू अगर लोअर होगी तो वो मेरा टैक्सेबल में चार्ज होगा। और आफ्टर 90 डेज अगर फिर भी मैं दोनों हाउसेस अपने पास रख रही हूँ तो मेरे दोनों हाउसेस की वैल्यू जो है वो मेरे परचेसेस में ऐड होगी। In case of transfer from one place to another and the employee is provided house at the new place and employee has not vacated the old house, then value of the such houses will be taken up as follows. Up to 90 days of transfer, any one of lower value. Post 90 days means after 90 days, both value of both houses value would be counted as perquisites. Rent-free accommodation not chargeable. Value of the perquisites shall be nil in the case of judges of high courts, supreme courts, union ministers, official in parliaments, and कभी जब किसी एम्प्लॉय को माइनिंग साइट या प्रोजेक्ट एग्जीक्यूशन साइट पे किसी रिमोट एरिया में भेजा जाता है तब. Now moving on to the second part of taxable perquisites is leave travel concession. एम्प्लॉयर के थ्रू हमें कुछ लीव ट्रैवल कंसेशन मिलता है, तो कोई भी अगर एयर के थ्रू मैंने जर्नी करी है तो मुझे अमाउंट कितना एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा, दैट इज फेयर वैल्यू फेयर अप टू द इकोनॉमी क्लास इफ ट्रैवल्ड बाय एयर, बट इफ ट्रैवल्ड अदर देन बाय एयर देन द फर्स्ट क्लास AC फेयर ऑफ रेलवे, एंड इफ ट्रैवल्ड बाय बस on by road, then it will be first class fare by the public transport if exists. अब अपन देखते हैं इसका एक टेबुलर प्रेजेंटेशन. अगर मैंने एयर के थ्रू ट्रैवल किया है तो अमाउंट नॉट एक्सीडिंग द एयर इकोनॉमी फेयर ऑफ नेशनल कैरियर बाय द शॉर्टेस्ट रूट टू द प्लेस ऑफ डेस्टिनेशन. शॉर्टेस्ट रूट का इसमें ये नहीं होता कि फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे को जयपुर से केरला जाना है तो बाय डायरेक्ट जो शॉर्टेस्ट जो रूट होगा जयपुर टू केरला वो काउंट किया जाएगा. भले ही मेरी फ्लाइट जो है वो जयपुर से दिल्ली, दिल्ली से मुंबई, मुंबई से केरला जा रही है, वो काउंट नहीं किया जाएगा. एनी अदर मोड के थ्रू अगर मैं जर्नी कर रही हूँ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल बाय रेल सर्विस, देन द AC का फर्स्ट क्लास रेलवे फेयर बाय शॉर्टेस्ट रूट टू द प्लेस ऑफ डेस्टिनेशन. If railway service is not available, then any public transport service, then amount not exceeding the first class or the deluxe class fare as the case may be on such transport by the shortest route to the place of destination. No recognized, अगर कोई भी public transport system exist ही नहीं कर रहा है, then amount equivalent to the air conditioned first class railway fare for the distance of the journey by the shortest route as the journey had performed by rail. Now exemption जो है वो 2 जर्नीज के लिए लिया जा सकता है इन अ ब्लॉक ऑफ 4 years, और अभी जो ब्लॉक चल रहा है दैट इज 2018 to 2021. In out of the 2 journey, exemption of 1 journey can be availed in the calendar year. एक कैलेंडर ईयर में मैं एक ही जर्नी जो है वो एक ही जर्नी का एग्जेम्पशन अवेल कर सकते हो. Then also exemption can be available claimed for the 2 children who are born after 1st October 1998. LTC given to the foreign citizen is chargeable to tax. अब एक illustration लेते हैं. Mr. Dinesh went on a holiday on 10th December 2020 to Kerala with his wife and 3 children. 1 daughter 4 years, twin sons aged 2 years. He went by flight economy class, and the total cost of the tickets reimbursed by his employer was 50,000, 35,000 for adults and 15,000 for the 3 minor children. अभी last slide में हमने ये पढ़ा था कि only 2 children are allowed. Then question ये पूछ रहा है कि compute the amount of LTC exempt assuming that he has previously availed the exemption only once in the block of 4 calendar years.
So, Vidhi, will you answer? Vidhi? Ronak Nahar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ronak.
Yes, sir. I think so. इसमें इसके 2 सन्स का मिल जाएगा डिडक्शन अपन को. तो सर यहाँ पे 4 years 4 years सर यहाँ पे 2 का मिलेगा अपन डिडक्शन. यहाँ पे 3 बच्चे तो 2 का मिलेगा अपन को.
और आंसर करेगा रोहित, will you answer? Yes, Rohit. This Abhinav at Mangalam. Abhinav.
अभिनव भैया, अभिनव भैया.
हेलो.
Abhinav,
अभी
बताइए।
को आंसर पूछने की बोल, पहले विधि को नाम है, विधि ने दिया नहीं, अब अभिनव भैया।
Hello.
Yes, Abhinav.
Sir, according to me, full 50,000 should be allowed, as it is allowed for two children, and the second ones are twins. So according to me, it should be allowed for 50,000.
Yes, Abhinav, you are absolutely correct. इसमें ये था कि ट्विन सन्स थे, तो अगर सेकंड जो चाइल्ड है अगर वो ट्विंस है तो वो तीनों चिल्ड्रन के लिए जो है वो अलाउड है। एक और क्वेश्चन है मेरा, अगर ये केरला मीन्स विद इन इंडिया ना होते हुए अगर ये आउट ऑफ इंडिया होता तो क्या फिर भी जो एम्प्लॉयर ने रियम्बर्समेंट करा है 50,000 का तब भी वो एग्जाम होता आउटसाइड इंडिया होता तो?
Nidhi, आप आंसर करेंगे? I think earlier you were not in network, as you are mentioning in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Will you please repeat the question once again, Dee?
मिस्टर दिनेश अभी तो केरला गए थे, अब मान लीजिए वो केरला ना जाते हुए वो थाईलैंड गए और उनको वही 50,000 का अमाउंट एम्प्लॉयर से रिसीव हुआ, तो तब भी वो क्या एग्जेम्प्ट होगा या टैक्सेबल?
नहीं, वो एग्जेम्प्ट नहीं होगा, वो सिर्फ विद इन इंडिया के लिए है।
ओके, यू आर करेक्ट।
थैंक यू।
So the solution is, since the daughter's age is more than the twin sons, Mr. Dinesh can avail the exemption for all the three children. The restriction of the two children is not applicable to the multiple births after one child. The holiday being in India and the journey being performed by air economy class, the entire reimbursement met by the employer is fully exempt under section 10(5) with rule 2B. Then coming on to the next topic, that is medical facilities. The following medical facilities will not amount to a perquisite. Value of the medical treatment, कोई भी hospital जो maintained by the employer है, वहाँ पे employee अगर अपना medical treatment करवा रहा है और उसके लिए उसको अगर reimbursement हो रहा है तो वो taxable नहीं होगा. Reimbursement of expenditure actually incurred on the medical treatment in any hospital which is maintained by the government, means कोई भी government का hospital या फिर कोई भी prescribed disease के treatment के लिए जो उसका treatment हो रहा है तो वो भी जो है वो exempt होगा, means it would not be amounted as taxable perquisites. Premium paid to effect an insurance on the health of the employee. Reimbursement of the premium paid to effect an insurance on the health of employee or the family of an employee. Amount paid towards expenditure incurred outside India on the medical treatment. अब कोई भी पर्सन जो मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट अपना आउटसाइड इंडिया करवाना चाह रहा है तो उसके लिए तो होता है कि मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट का कॉस्ट, एक होता है ट्रैवल एंड स्टे अब्रॉड ऑफ द पेशेंट एंड ट्रैवल एंड स्टे अब्रॉड ऑफ वन अटेंडेंट हु अकम्पनीज द पेशेंट इन कनेक्शन विद सच अ ट्रीटमेंट. इसके लिए जो एम्प्लॉयर रियम्बर्समेंट करता है तो उसमें क्या क्या चीज टैक्सेबल और क्या क्या चीज कंडीशंस जो है वो अपन देखते हैं. कंडीशंस में ये है कि जो perquisite element है in respect of expenditure on the medical treatment and stay abroad will be exempt only up to the extent which is permitted by RBI, or the expense in respect of traveling of the patient and the attendant will be exempt if the employee's gross income as computed does including the said expenditure does not exceed 2 lakh. इस पर्पस के लिए जो फैमिली का मीन क्या है, फैमिली मीन स्पाउस एंड चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल. चिल्ड्रन जो है वो डिपेंडेंट, इंडिपेंडेंट, मैरिड, अनमैरिड, कुछ भी, एंड पेरेंट्स, ब्रदर एंड सिस्टर मस्ट बी डिपेंडेंट, होली और मेनली डिपेंडेंट अपॉन हिम. हॉस्पिटल इंक्लूड्स अ डिस्पेंसरी और अ क्लिनिक और अ नर्सिंग होम. एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं इसके बेसिस पे, मेडिकल फैसिलिटी के बेसिस पे. मिस्टर गणेश हैं, उन्होंने जो है वो अपना मेडिकल प्रीमियम पे करा है खुद के लिए 14,000 का. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ मिस्टर गणेश बाय हिज फैमिली डॉक्टर, अभी फैमिली डॉक्टर है तो ये जो है वो पूरा टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ मिस्टर गणेश इन अ गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल, अब गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल है
तो वो पूरा 30,000 एग्जाम्प्ट होएगा, मीन्स इट वुड नॉट बी चार्जेबल अंडर एज एन टैक्सेबल पर्पसेस. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गणेश ग्रैंडफादर इन अ प्राइवेट क्लिनिक. अब वैसे कि ग्रैंडफादर जो है वो रिलेटिव की डेफिनेशन में नहीं आते, तो इट वुड बी और भी है कि प्राइवेट क्लिनिक में हुआ है, तो इट विल बी क्लासिफाइड एज टैक्सेबल पर्पसेस. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गणेश मदर and she is dependent and by a family doctor. अब वो जो है वो रिलेटिव की डेफिनेशन में आती है. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गणेश सिस्टर इन अ नर्सिंग होम, ये भी रिलेटिव की डेफिनेशन में आती है. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ ब्रदर इंडिपेंडेंट, अब ब्रदर जो है वो इंडिपेंडेंट है तो उसका जो है वो हम टैक्सेबल करेंगे. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गणेश फादर 75 ईयर्स एंड डिपेंडेंट है और उनका अब्रॉड हुआ है, उसमें एक्सपेंसेस लगे 60,000 और एक्सपेंसेस ऑफ स्टे अब्रॉड ऑफ द पेशेंट 40,000. तो टोटल अब्रॉड का जो मेरा एक्सपेंस आया है वो है 1 लाख. और आरबीआई के थ्रू मेरे को जो परमिटेड लिमिट है वो है 75,000. तो मेरा सिर्फ 75,000 तक ही वो एग्जाम मानूंगी. रेस्ट जो 25,000 मीन्स 1 लाख प्लस 60,000 प्लस 40,000 टोटल 1 लाख. 1 लाख से माइनस करूंगी 75,000. जो मेरा 25,000 आया वही मेरा टैक्सेबल में काउंट होगा. तो फर्स्ट जो है अगर उसने खुद के लिए ही इंश्योरेंस के लिए पैसा दिया तो वो एग्जेम्प्ट होगा. फैमिली डॉक्टर से अगर उसने करवाया तो वो 10,000 टैक्सेबल होगा. गणेश ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ मिसेस गणेश मीन्स उसकी वाइफ का हुआ है, बीइंग अ फैमिली मेंबर, गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल हुआ है तो वो टैक्स एग्जेम्प्ट होगा. प्राइवेट क्लिनिक में करवाया और ग्रैंडफादर का करवाया 12,000 टैक्सेबल होगा. मदर है डिपेंडेंट बट फैमिली डॉक्टर से करवाया तो भी टैक्सेबल होगा. सिस्टर है भले डिपेंडेंट है बट वो एक नर्सिंग होम में करवाया है भी टैक्सेबल होगा. इंडिपेंडेंट ब्रदर है बट वो इंडिपेंडेंट है तो वो वैसे भी टैक्सेबल होगा. और द लास्ट में जो है वो गणेश फादर का करवाया जो हमने बाहर जाके हमने करवाया था. तो 1 लाख minus 75,000 which is being permitted by the RBI. So the rest 25,000 will be counted as taxable perquisites. Lastly, note given that grandfather and the independent brother are not included within the meaning of family of Mr. Ganesh. Other taxable perquisites कौन से हैं जो fully taxable है employee के लिए. Payment of obligation of employee. कोई भी मनी जो एम्प्लॉय को पे करना था बट किसी भी रीजन से एम्प्लॉयर ने उसको पेमेंट कर दिया, एम्प्लॉयर ने उसका पेमेंट कर दिया है तो वो एम्प्लॉय के लिए जो है अकाउंटेड होगा एज अ टैक्सेबल पर्पसेस. फॉर एग्जांपल कोई भी सर्वेंट की फैसिलिटी अगर एम्प्लॉय को दी गई है और उसका डायरेक्ट पेमेंट एम्प्लॉयर कर रहा है तो वो अकाउंट होगा एज अ टैक्सेबल पर्पसेस. पेमेंट ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी बाय द एम्प्लॉयर. कोई भी स्वेट इक्विटी शेयर गिवन फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट और एट कंसेशनल रेट वो भी जो है वो टैक्सेबल पर्पसेस काउंट किया जाएगा. इंटरेस्ट फ्री और द कंसेशनल लोन above 20,000 and the credit card expense would be counted as taxable purposes. The amount or aggregate of amounts of any contribution made in a recognized provident fund or in NPS or in an approved annuation fund by the employer to the employee to the extent it exceeds 7,50,000. अगर वो 7,50,000 तक है तो taxable नहीं है, but above 7,50,000 है that it would be taxable. Means it would be counted as taxable purposes. Now the taxable purposes only in hands of the specified employees. The value of any benefit or amenity granted or provided free of cost or at concessional rate which have not been included in above cases will be taxable only in the hands of the specified employees. The examples of such benefits or the amenities provided are provision of sweeper, gardener, watchman or personal attendant, facility of use of gas, electricity or water supplied by the employer, free or concessional tickets, use of motor car, free or concessional education facilities. अब हमारे माइंड में ये क्वेश्चन आता है कि स्पेसिफाइड एम्प्लॉइज के लिए टैक्सेबल है ये तो बता दिया, पर स्पेसिफाइड एम्प्लॉइज होते कौन है अब ये अपन देखते हैं. सो द फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज द डायरेक्टर एम्प्लॉय. कोई भी एम्प्लॉय जो कंपनी का डायरेक्टर है इज अ स्पेसिफाइड एम्प्लॉय. अभी मटेरियल ये नहीं करता कि अब वो डायरेक्टर है या नहीं. मींस इट इज म्यूजियम. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर वो 6 मंथ्स भी रहा है तो वो काउंट होएगा एज अ स्पेसिफाइड एम्प्लॉय. The employee who has a substantial interest in the company. Substantial interest if he is a beneficial owner of equity shares carrying 20% or more of the voting power in the company. Employee drawing in excess of 50,000 of their salary. Here the salary includes sorry. In other words, the company limit means is 50,000 में क्या क्या include और क्या क्या exclude किया जाएगा. All non-monetary benefits must be deducted. All monetary benefits which are exempt under Section 10 must be excluded. Standard deduction under Section 16 IA up to 50,000 must be deducted. Deduction of entertainment allowance and deduction towards the professional tax under Section 16(3) must also be deducted. उसके बाद मेरा जो अगर 50,000 बच रहा है, then I would be classified as specified employee. Thank you.
So, thank you, Shruti. In the meantime, before the another speaker comes, yeah, please supplement.
I think now I would like to ask few questions from the students. ये होटल्स में या जहाँ पे भी ये लोग जॉब करते हैं, नॉर्मली जो भी सब स्टाफ मेंबर्स होते हैं, इनको टिप्स मिलती है फ्रॉम द कस्टमर्स. क्या ये टिप्स जो उनको मिलती है, क्या ये हमारा सैलरी का इनकम होती है?
Manisha Shekhawat. Yes, Manisha. Yes, Nidhi, I will come back to you again, but before that, Manisha, would you like to answer? Manisha Shekhawat. Naman Sanghi.
Sir, according to me, it should be in other sources.
Yes.
It is correct because nowhere in the salary agreement या जो employment contract ये कहीं नहीं mention होता कि आपको इतनी टिप मिलनी चाहिए या इतनी टिप आपके लिए you are liable. ये कोई contract नहीं है आपको, कोई agreement नहीं. So tips will be a part of other sources, not your salary income.
You are asking for more? You are ready? Okay. Supplement करना.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Priyal Maheshwari, and I will be covering the perquisites taxable only in the hands of specified employees. So, the first perquisite is motor car. If the motor car is provided by the employer to the employee, then the perquisite will be taxable only in the hand of specified employees. If the motor car is owned by the employer and used by him or the members of his family for the personal purpose for which the employer reimburses the running and maintenance expense of the car, then this perquisite will be taxable in the hands of all the employees. So the value which will be taxable will be determined as follows. When the motor car is owned or hired by the employer and is used only and exclusively in the performance of his official duties, where the cubic capacity of the engine does not exceed 1.6 liter and where the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter. In both the cases, it will not be treated as a perquisite provided the specified documents are maintained by the employer. In case if the motor car is used exclusively for the private or the personal purpose of the employer or any member of his household, and the running and maintenance expenses are met or reimbursed by the employer, then the actual amount of expenditure incurred by the employer, including any remuneration paid to the shopper, will be the value of the benefit. In both both the cases where the capacity of the engine does not exceed 1.6 liter and where the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter. And in case if the car is used partly for the private purpose and partly for the official purpose, it is further divided into two parts. If the expense of maintenance and running the car are met by the employer, then it will be taxable at the rate rupees 1,800 plus 900 in case if the chauffeur is provided. This rate will be only applicable if the cubic capacity of the engine does not exceed 1.6 liter. If the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter, then the value that will be taxable is rupees 2,400 plus 900 if the chauffeur is provided. Now, the expense on the running and maintenance of the private on the car is met for the private or the personal purpose. It will be taxable at the rate rupees 600 per month plus 900 if the chauffeur is provided. It will be 600 will be used only when the cubic capacity of the car does not exceed 1.6 liter. If the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds exceeds 1.6 liter, then it will be taxable at the rate rupees 900 per month plus 900 if the chauffeur is also provided. Earlier, the case was employer was providing the car to the employer. Now the employer owns the motor car and the actual running and maintenance charges are met or reimbursed to him by the employer. If such reimbursement is for the use of the vehicle wholly for the personal purpose, in both the cases where the cubic capacity of the engine does not exceed 1.6 liter and where the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter, in both the cases it will not be treated as a perquisite provided the specific documents are maintained by the employer. If such reimbursement is for the use of the vehicle partly for the official purpose and partly for the personal or private purpose, then the actual amount incurred by the employer reduced by rupees 1,800 per month in case that the cubic capacity of the engine does not exceed 1.6 liter. The taxable value will be the actual amount of expenditure incurred by the employer as rupees by 2,400 if the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter. In case the employer owns any other automotive conveyance, but the actual running and maintenance charges are met or reimbursed to them by the employer. When such reimbursement is for the use of vehicle wholly and exclusively for the official purpose, then it will not be treated as a perquisite, provided the specified documents are maintained by the employer. When such reimbursement is for the use of vehicle partly for the official purpose and partly for the personal purpose, then the taxable value will be the actual amount of expenditure incurred by the employer as reduced by the amount of rupees 900. And where the cubic capacity of the engine exceeds 1.6 liter, it will not be applicable. In case if more than one motor car is provided to the employer by the employer, then the value of perquisite will be one motor car will be treated as that it is used exclusively in the performance of its partly in the performance of its official duties and partly for its private or personal purpose. And remaining all other cars will be treated as if such cars are exclusively used for its private or the personal purpose. Now, the meaning of specified document means that the employer should maintain the complete details of the journey undertaken for the official purpose, which may include the date of journey, destination, mileage, and the amount of expenditure incurred. And the employer gives a certificate that the expenditure was incurred wholly and exclusively for the performance of the official duties. Now, the next purpose is valuation of benefit of provision of domestic servant. In case if the domestic servant is engaged by the employer, then it will be taxable in the hands of all the employees. In case if the domestic servant is engaged by the employer, then it will be taxable only in the hands of specified employers. Like in this case, if the domestic servant is engaged by the employer, the liability to discharge the obligation lies in the hands of employer. Therefore, it is taxable in the hands of all the employees. Where the domestic servant is engaged by the employer, the liability to discharge the obligation lies in the hands of the employer, not in the hands of employer. Therefore, it will be taxable only in the hands of specified employees. Now, the value of benefit will be the value of benefit shall be the actual cost to the employer, and the actual cost includes the salary paid or payable by the employer or for such services as reduced by any amount paid by the employer for such services. Now there is an illustration. Mr. Ram and Mr. Shyam are working for Messrs. Alpha Limited. As per salary fixation norms, the following perquisites were offered. For Mr. Ram, who engaged a domestic servant for ₹1,000 per month, his employer reimbursed the entire salary paid to the domestic servant, that is ₹1,000 per month. And for Mr. Shyam, he was provided with a domestic servant at the rate ₹1,000 per month as a part of remuneration package. You are required to comment on the taxability of the above in the hands of Mr. Ram and Mr. Shyam, who are not specified employees. Can anyone answer this question?
Kaushal Gupta? Kaushal?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Kaushal, please.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yes, Kaushal.
Yes, sir, just a second.
So, Kaushal, you're not hearing Priyal?
Sir, first one will be taxable only for so 1,000 per month will be taxable for all the employees, and second one 1,000 per month will be taxable for only specified employees.
Okay, you are right. In the first case, the domestic servant is engaged by the employer. Hence, the salary becomes an obligation which the employer would have discharged, even if the employer did not reimburse the same. So therefore, it will be taxable in the case of all the employees, and hence a sum of ₹1,000 per month would be taxed as perquisite in the hands of Mr. Ram. And in the second case, the domestic servant is not engaged by the employer, but is provided by the employer. Thus, it cannot be considered as an obligation which the employer is required to make. Therefore, it will be taxable only in the hands of specified employees. Since Mr. Shyam is not a specified employer, there is no perquisite taxable in his hands. Now, the valuation of gas, electricity, or water supplied by the employer. In case if the gas, electricity, or water connection are taken by the employer and the employer reimburses the employee for expenses, it will be considered as a perquisite in the hands of all the employees. Whereas if the gas, electricity, or water connection is taken in the name of employer and the facility of such supplies are provided to the employer, then it will be perquisite in the hand of specified employers. Now, the value of benefit will be if the payment is made to any agency supplying gas or electricity, the value of benefit will be sum equal to the amount paid by the employer to such agency for supplying of gas, electricity, or water. If the supply is made from the resources owned by the employer, then the manufacturing cost per unit will be considered as a value of benefit. And in case where the employee is paying any amount in respect of such services, the amounts of paid shall be deducted from the value. Now, the next perquisite is valuation of free or concessional education facility. If the school fees of the children of employer or any member of the employee household is paid or reimbursed by the employer, it will be considered perquisite in the hands of all the employer. But if the education facility is provided in the school, maintained by the employer, or in any school by reason of paid employment, it's free of cost or at the concessional rate, it would be perquisite in the hands of specified employees only. Now, the value of benefit will be if the education institution is maintained and owned by the employer, then the value of benefit will be the cost of such education in the similar institution in or near the locality. If the education facility value of such benefit per child does not exceed rupees 1,000 per month. In any other case, the actual amount expenditure incurred by the employer, where the amount is paid or recovered from the employer on that account, the value of benefit shall be reduced by the amount. The exemption of rupees 1,000 per month is not allowed if the education facilities provided is not allowed if the education facility is provided to any other household member. Means कि 1,000 rupees per month का deduction तभी मिलेगा जब children के regarding अगर exemption हो. अगर ये facility अपन household member को provide करेंगे तो 1,000 rupees का जो per month का exemption है वो नहीं मिलेगा. Free or concessional tickets. In case if the free or concessional tickets are provided by the employer to employer, provided the employer who is engaged in the carriage of passenger or goods to any employer or to any other member of his household for personal or private journey free of cost or at concessional fare in any conveyance owned, leased, or made available by any other arrangement. The value shall be the benefit which is offered by the employer to the public as reduced by the amount, if any, recovered from the employer. However, there would be no such perquisite to the employees of an airline or the railway. Now, the other value of other fringe benefits and amenities. The first is interest-free or concessional loan. In case if any loan is given to the employer by the employer during the relevant previous year, the value of benefit shall be the rate of interest charged by the State Bank of India as on the first day of the relevant previous year on the maximum outstanding monthly balance as reduced by the interest, if any, paid by the employee or any such member of his household. The meaning of maximum outstanding monthly balance means the outstanding balance as on the last day of the each month. However, no value should be charged if such facilities are made available for the medical treatment in respect of specified disease like cancer and tuberculosis, etc., or where the amount of loan does not exceed rupees 20,000. And in case if the benefit relates to the loan made available for the medical treatment, the exemption so provided shall not apply to such loan as has been reimbursed to the employer under any medical insurance scheme. So the next purpose it is free or concessional food and non-alcoholic beverages. In case the free food and the alcoholic beverages are provided by the employer to an employee, then the value of benefit will be the actual amount of expenditure incurred by such employer. The amount to determine shall be reduced by the amount, if any, recovered or paid by the employer. However, the following would not be treated as a perquisite if such free food and non-alcoholic beverages are provided by the employer during the working hours at the office premises or the business premises or through the paid vouchers which are not transferable and visible only at the eating points, and the value of such meal does not exceed rupees 50 per meal. Tea or snacks provided during the working hours, free food and the non-alcoholic beverages during the working hours provided in a remote area or in offshore installation. Now the next purpose it is traveling, touring and accommodation. In case if the traveling, touring and accommodation, etc. expenses are paid or reimbursed by the employer, then the value of benefit will be the actual amount of expenditure incurred by such employer. In case if the traveling, touring or accommodation, etc. facilities are maintained by the employer to a particular employer, then the value of benefit will be the facilities, the rate at which such facilities are offered by the other agency to the public. In case if the expense on any member of household accompanying such employer and office hour, the value of benefit will be the amount of expenditure so incurred. And in case if the traveling, touring and accommodation, if the official tour is extended as a vacation, the expense incurred in relation to such extended period or stay or vacation. Value of gift, voucher or token in lieu of such gift. In case if the employee receives any gift from the employer, then the value will be the value of such gift. However, if the value of such gift, voucher, or token, as the case may be, is below 5,000, then the value of purchase shall be taken as nil. Credit card expenses, the amount of expenses which are charged to the credit account, to the credit card provided by the employer or reimbursed by the employer, shall be taken as a value of perquisite chargeable to the tax, as reduced by the amount, if any, paid or recovered from the employer. However, when such expenses are incurred fully and exclusively for the official purpose, then it will not be treated as a perquisite, provided the following conditions are fulfilled. Complete details in respect of such expenditure are maintained by the employer, and the employer gives a certificate for such expenditure that such expenditure relates fully and exclusively for the performance of the official duties. Now, the club expenditure. In case the facility, the value of benefit resulting from the payment or the reimbursement by the employer of any expenditure incurred in a club, then the value which will be considered will be the actual amount of expenditure incurred or reimbursed by such employer on that account. However, if the employer has obtained corporate membership of the club and the facility is enjoyed by all the employers, then the value perquisite shall not be, means it will not be treated as a perquisite if this facility is provided to all the employees. Now, the use of movable asset. In case if any asset is given by the employer to the employee, when such asset given is for the use of, when such asset given is laptop and computer, the value of benefit will be taken as nil. In case if the asset given is movable asset other than laptops and computer,
Uh,
am I audible?
one.
Am I audible?
Yes, please, you can start. I think.
If the asset transferred is motor car, then the value perquisite will be the depreciated value of asset, and the depreciation is computed at the rate 20% on WDV for each completed year of usage. In case if the asset transferred is any other asset, the value of perquisite will be depreciated value of asset, and depreciation is computed at the rate 10% on SLM for each completed year of usage. Now, the next topic is valuation of specified security or sweat equity shares. Then the value perquisite will be the fair market value on the date on which the option is exercised by the employer. In case if the shares are listed on the recognized stock exchange, the value taken will be the average of the opening price and the closing price of the share on that date on the said stock exchange. If the shares are listed on more than one recognized stock exchange, then the value to be taken will be the average of the opening price and the closing price of the share on the recognized stock exchange, which records the highest volume of trading in the share. In case if the shares are if there are no trading in shares on the recognized stock exchange, then the value to be taken as the closing price of the share on any recognized stock exchange on a date closest to the date of exercising of the option and immediately preceding such date. Closing price of the share means closing price of a share on recognized stock on the date shall be the price of the last settlement on such date on such stock exchange. However, the stock exchange quotes both the buy and sell price. We will be considering only the sell price. The definition of opening price: the opening price of a share on a recognized stock exchange on the date shall be the price of the first settlement on such date on such stock exchange. We will be considering only the sell price for the first settlement. Shares which are not listed on a recognized stock exchange, then the value of perquisite will be the fair market value as determined by the merchant banker on the specified date. Now, the meaning of specified date. Now, the meaning of specified date. Specified date means the date of exercising of the option or any date earlier than the date of exercising of the option, not being a date which is more than 180 days earlier than the date of exercising. In case if the definition of the definition of specified date will differ in case where when such shares or securities are allotted by the current employer. Being an eligible startup referred to in section 80 IEC, the perquisite is taxable in the year after the expiry of 48 months from the end of the relevant assessment year in which sale of such securities or shares are made by the SEC, in which the SEC ceases to be the employer of the employer, whichever is earlier. Now, the valuation of specified security not being an equity share in a company. The value will be fair market value of such security on the date which the option is exercised by the employer. Now, the meaning of specified date. Specified date means the date of exercising of the option or any date earlier than the date of exercising of the option, not being a date which is more than 180 days earlier than the date of exercising. Now, we will be covering the deduction from salary. First is the standard deduction. A standard deduction of rupees 50,000 or the amount of salary whichever is lower is to be provided to the employer. The second is entertainment allowance. Entertainment allowance receipt is fully taxable. That means first it will be included in the salary and deduction will be only allowed in case of government employee, and the amount of deduction will be lower of 1/5 of his basic salary or rupees 5,000 for entertainment allowance receipt. Next is professional tax on employment. Professional taxes on employment are levied by state under Article 276 of the Constitution is allowed as deduction only when it is actually paid by the employer during the previous year. The total amount, means the deduction is restricted to only rupees 2,500 per annum. And in case if the professional tax is reimbursed or directly paid by the employer on the behalf of the employer, the amounts paid is first included as a salary income and then allowed as deduction under Section 16. Thank you.
So, thank you, Priyal. Priya, would you like to add something on? Yeah.
First of all, remember questions पे मुझे इनसे पूछना है एक जनरल क्वेश्चन जो जजेस होते हैं हमारे होते हैं इनका एम्प्लॉयर कौन सा है या फिर एम्प्लॉयड एप्लीकेशन जब उनको सैलरी मिलती है तो उनको एम्प्लॉयर कौन होता है उनको जजेस का गवर्नमेंट का डिपार्टमेंट है कहीं ये एक केस लॉ हुआ था जिसमें कहा गया था कि जजेस का कोई एम्प्लॉयर नहीं होता है मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को ये गवर्नमेंट को हम एज एन एम्प्लॉयर नहीं कंसिडर करते उसमें कोई डिपार्टमेंट होना चाहिए तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में दे आर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल फंक्शनरीज आर्टिकल 125 and 220 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डील्स विद सैलरी ऑफ द जजेस एंड एक्सप्रेसली वहां स्टेट किया गया था कि जो जजेस को सैलरी जजेस को जो भी अमाउंट मिली जाएगी वो सैलरी होगी दिस हैज बीन स्पेसिफिकली प्रोवाइडेड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एक और केस हुआ था बिटवीन सीआईटी एंड लालू प्रसाद चीफ मिनिस्टर को जो सैलरी या पे अलाउंस होगी उसको जो चीफ मिनिस्टर है ही कंसिडर एज अ सर्वेंट टू द